and welcome to another episode of Real Life Testimonies with Bamboo and Erica. And today our guest is Faith, and she has a wonderful story, a wonderful testimony that we would like for everyone to hear. And I think testimonies are so important because they encourage, they inspire, they teach, and they provide so much insight for our viewers and for the body of Christ in general. So welcome my beautiful wife, Erica.
Yes, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for making it possible for us to present such content to you. Thank you for supporting Nasi. Thank you. Thank you so much. And today my sister Faith is going to share her testimony of how God delivered her from the powers of darkness. Many times you've been listening to my testimony, and at a certain point it may sound like it is only Erica. But as we tell you, life is spiritual, and you have to watch out. You have to listen and learn, because knowledge is power, and it is very important for you to know the strategies of the enemy. Today Faith is sharing because she has overcome, and she's celebrating, she's rejoicing. God delivered her from the kingdom of darkness, from the marine kingdom. We talk about spiritual husbands, we talk about Jezebel, we talk about all these attacks that the enemy is launching against the children of God. But now we need to know who Faith is, and how all this started and up to where she is right now. So my sister Faith, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so who is Faith? Yeah, people want to know who Faith is. Yeah.
My name is Faith Karuri. I am born again. I love Jesus Christ. I come from a Christian background in a family of two. I am the oldest sister and I have a younger sister. Both my parents are alive and they are Christians. They love God very much. I was brought up in a Christian family from primary school, in secondary school. In primary school, my life was normal. It was okay until I joined secondary school in Moi Girls Kamango in Kikuyu. In Form 1, in Form 2, my life was okay. I was in Christian Union, but I was a normal member. Now in Form 3, I was made the CEO official, where I was made the prayer coordinator of the Christian Union. I was also made a group leader of a group we had called Prayer Warriors. In that group, we really used to pray. We would wake up every day at 3 a.m. to pray. We would fast 2 times a week. We really loved God. We would pray even in lunchtime, in the evening. Yeah, we really loved God. Now, when I was now in Form 3, when I was made the CU leader, that's when some girls started approaching me. When I was in Form 1 and Form 2, I used to hear stories that there are a lot of devil worshippers in our school, but I had not encountered one. So when I was now made the leader, they started now approaching me. There is one girl who came running to me at night. He came running and telling me, Faith, they are beating me. They want to kill me. I could not understand what she meant. And then I asked her, who are they? It's at night. I cannot see anybody chasing you. Who are they? And that's the time she told me she was recruited into devil worship when she was in class 2 by the auntie, and she never wanted to serve the devil, but they were forcing her to serve the devil. And now, because we have been praying in the school, she had failed in her mission. That's why they were chasing her. That's why they were beating her. Now she was running to me because she told me when she's around me, they cannot attack her because of the presence of God that I carried. Now she was crying, she was telling me I should help her come out of that thing. At that time, I had not experienced such thing even at our church back at home. Now, I could only pray general prayers to them. And that's when I could see them manifesting. And I did not understand the real thing, what devil worship was. Another girl came, she told me she was initiated too by a friend in primary school. She had killed the father. Now she was very guilty because of shedding the blood of her father.
Her own dad.
Yeah. And now she was telling me she gives birth to the marine kingdom.
She gives birth for demons.
Yeah.
I hope parents are watching this testimony with their children, because many times we think children should not know these things, they are too young, they cannot understand, but the enemy is targeting children. So it's very important for your children to listen to what faith is saying. So this child was initiated when she was young and used by the enemy to kill her father, and she was feeling guilty, so she confined in faith because she was now giving birth to children in the marine kingdom.
Yeah. Now I could not still get that story. I had not encountered such things. She even told me how from the moment she sacrifices her father, she has never become broke. Every time she could find money in her box, the box in the school that used to put our clothes. Whenever they end, she could find they have added more. She had even a mysterious chain. She could count some beads, and maybe the water is cold. She could make the water become hot, warm by counting some beads. Yeah, those people had very terrifying stories, and I could not help them. Now, because of handling those issues, and I was not familiar with how to do a deliverance, an effective deliverance, those people affected my studies. I started becoming sick mysteriously. In Form 3 and Form 4, I was on and off from school. Now, it reached a point where they realized I cannot do an effective deliverance. So they were given a mission. Those girls that I was praying for, they were given a mission that they should recruit me to their things. They came. One of them came, borrowed me a watch. We were almost closing school, and she went with my watch. I didn't know what she wanted to do with it. I gave out of a good heart.
She borrowed a watch from you.
Yeah, she borrowed a watch from me, and she went with it.
Point of contact.
Yeah, we were going for a holiday. So I didn't. I was just being generous. Now, when we came back from holiday, those girls started avoiding me. They used to run to me for help when they were tortured, but now after they went to holiday, they could not come near me. When we'd meet on the way, they used to run or change the route. I became suspicious, and I wondered what is wrong. Why are they not coming now to me? And then one of their friends told me, Faith, do you remember a certain girl borrowed your watch? She told us that she went and took it to their kingdom as she was instructed by their queen. And they wanted to use that watch to initiate you to their kingdom. But because you are very prayerful and your parents are prayerful too, they could not initiate you.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were told they should stay away from me. And also in our school there was a lot of, before I say about that, now we used to, someone may ask, why are you telling the teachers in the school those things were happening? Yeah, we used to tell them, but they could not understand. They could say it's just our imaginations. Yeah, they never understood, but people should know that these things are real. They are very real in schools, in high school, in primary school, even as young as you remember I told you the girl was initiated when she was in class 2, so you cannot assume these things, they are real. Now there was also a lot of lesbianism in our school, and those girls also used to come to me and tell me they want to come out of it. You know, sometimes the teachers judge those girls and beat them, chase them without hearing, wanting to know what is the real reason why these girls are doing this. Because one girl came and told me, Faith, I am a lesbian and I don't love doing it. I does this because every time my father's, when you are opening school, every time I come to school, before my father gives me school fees, he must sleep with me. And I don't want to tell the mother because I'm not the biological daughter. She got married to another dad who is not my biological dad.
And he sleeps with her.
Yeah, he used to sleep with her so that he can provide the school fees. And now she told me she doesn't want to tell the mother because she doesn't want them to divorce. They don't have any other source of
income.
Yeah, who will be paying for their school fees and such. Other girls used to come and tell me they are doing such things because other people are doing it. Other girls could come and tell me they are doing it because they want to explore, out of fun, exploring. Others could come and tell me they are doing it because they don't know why they are doing it. There are some forces which are making them do it. Yeah. So now I will go back to the devolution. Now when those girls told me what they had done to my watch and how they wanted to recruit me, those girls told me, Faith, they were unable to recruit you, but this is what they said, they don't give up. So Faith, when you come out of school, high school, when you finish high school, don't go and relax. Continue being prayerful, continue being in the presence of God so that those people will not find you. Now I finished my Form 4 in 2010, there in November. Immediately I finished my high school, I stopped praying. I stopped being godly. I stopped having that hunger for God.
And you just don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why. I started relating with weird friends, bad friends who could drink, who could chew mirror, and they started even showing me how to do them. Faith, you can take a sip of alcohol. Faith, you can chew. They could even show me. By the time December holiday, by the time December was there, I was already drinking. In a span of 2 months, I had really changed. But within those 2 months, I now started having dreams. The first dream I dreamt when some people are chasing me at night. Some people could come and chase me at night in my dreams. Now I used to tell my mother, and this is what my mother would tell me, Faith, just make sure those people don't catch you. It's like she was telling me, Faith, run, you should run until they don't catch you. The second dream, I dreamt swallowing a whole snake. I swallowed a whole snake. That one I didn't say it because it looked so real, but also I didn't want to believe it. The third one, I now started dreaming when I'm with some people and you are taking raw meat and drinking blood. Okay, I thought anyway, these are just dreams, they cannot be the reality. Now, the fourth dream, I started now seeing myself coming out. I could see leaving my body on the bed, and I could see another Faith coming out of my body, and
would astral project.
I could fly.
Mm.
I could fly with some people.
Mm.
Now that was in 2010. Now in 2011, I did my computer, and then I joined college in Moranga. Okay, in 2011 there is nothing. I don't remember something major that happened. The only thing that happened is I got a boyfriend in Moranga. He was in school too, doing nursing, and I was in a different school doing medical lab. Now during that time when I was with my boyfriend, okay, as much as I had changed, I had stopped being godly. I knew that sex before marriage is a sin, so we never had sex with that man at all. The only thing we could do is just romance. Now in 2012, I had a dream. I think it was mid 2012. I had a dream, and this time I dreamt having a baby, and then there is this woman, a very beautiful woman, a brown woman, who came and took away my baby. I told my mother about the dream. She told me, Faith, now how can you have a baby? Or have you started having sex? I told her, Mom, no, I'm still a virgin. Then she told me, then Faith, you're supposed to be careful, because maybe God is warning you of something that may happen in future. Maybe you will become bad and start sleeping with men and get pregnant and have a baby. Okay, that was it. So me, I knew I am not into those things. After a month later, after the dream, that's when I started having some changes. Like I could sleep a lot, and then I didn't get my periods. I got some weird thing, a brown reddish thing. Now because this man was a nurse, I told him what I've got, and he told me, Faith, we were taught by our teachers that is one sign of pregnancy. And then I asked him, how can I be pregnant? I've never had sex. He told me, just this, it's for fun. At that time I was in attachment in Oranga Hospital, so I could easily access the So I did the test, and it was positive. I could not believe, because I've never done that. In fact, I ran to where I used to learn, to the school, and I asked him, is what we do sex or
romance?
Because I don't understand how this thing is positive. We repeated the test with him again, and it was positive. Now I was so confused. I was frustrated. I didn't know how to tell my parents. I was wondering, now how will I give birth when I'm still a virgin? So that's the time I told him, now you must break my virginity, because I cannot give birth when I'm still a virgin. This man believed in me because he had never seen me with any other man. So this is what we concluded. He said, maybe when you are romancing, the sperm maybe swam, and I got pregnant maybe through diffusion or osmosis. That is how we concluded. Now, we were under a lot of stress and pressure. We were wondering, how will we tell our parents? He told me he cannot tell his parents because they will stop paying his school fees. And also I told him I cannot tell my parents because they are born again. I don't want to break their hearts. I don't want to be a source of shame to them. So he suggested that I should abort the pregnancy. Now because we were both medics, we could easily access those drugs for abortion, and we even had them. and even planned the date when we will abort. But now, this Christian background, I knew abortion is it's ungodly. I could not kill my baby. Then one day, out of frustration, out of stress, and I wasn't even aware of what I was saying. I was just saying things I had not thought of, or maybe to scare the man, but I didn't mean these words. I told him, now there have been some people who have been following me since high school. They are devil worshippers. Now what I'll do, because I don't want to kill this baby, I will give them this baby, and I will now agree to join their
Cult.
yeah, their cult.
By then you were just talking and you were not in your right mind.
Yeah, it's out of frustration. Yeah, I
The
didn't
door
mean
had
it.
been opened, yeah.
I didn't mean it at all. Now that man, that day he cried and told me, Faith, please, you're not sorry. Please don't do that. I thought when I give out my baby, maybe they will do some magic and the pregnancy will just disappear without interfering with my body or anything. They'll just do magic and remove the pregnancy, and that is it. So the boyfriend told me, Faith, please don't do it. And I told him, yeah, I was just joking. I cannot do it. So I left him. I went to my hostel. I went and slept. When I went to sleep, there is these powers that came in the room that lifted me up from my bed. So I was floating in the room. And now there were some voices which were making me to say things, to repeat the word they were saying. Like if I get in your cult, if I become your member, I will kill I'll kill my boyfriend's mother and brother. I will also destroy men. I will bring so many souls into your kingdom. I will make so many people backslide. And after saying those things, the power just left, and I returned to my bed. Now that thing really shocked me. It really shocked me such that I could not sleep. Now I remembered I had a friend in high school who was very prayerful too, and she has not changed. She was still very prayerful. She was a nurse in she was studying nursing in another school. So I called her and explained to her what has happened. I also told her I'm pregnant and how we are planning to abort the baby with my boyfriend. Now for the baby, she told me I should not abort the baby. She will call my mother because she knew my mother. She will call her and explain things about the pregnancy to her. And also she told me she will help me until I give birth. If I'm not interested with the baby, she will take the baby and stay with him or her until the time I'll feel I'm ready to take the baby back. And about that thing that happened, the lifting and floating, she told me to look for a pastor and explain to the person what I've experienced, so that they could pray for me. So she immediately called my mother, and my mother called. She told me, Faith, your friend has told me that you're pregnant. Please don't abort the baby. I will take care of the baby. And now the following day, I went to a random church where I usually had a pastor praying in the morning. I went and explained to him what has happened at night. And the pastor was just looking at me like this. He could not understand how
He wasn't sure.
he could not understand how that is even possible. But anyway, he prayed. And I thought, wow, that at least it is gone, as in I'm okay now. Now, because of that thing that happened in the hostel, it really shocked me until I shifted from the hostel to the rentals. and I went to stay with my friend in the rentals. Okay, now we used to sleep in the same bed with my friend because we are still students. We could not afford to have
Two beds.
and that big life. Now one day, when I woke up in the morning, I found myself sleeping beside the door. I don't know who removed me from my bed and took me to beside the door, and the door, it was very far from the bed. So I cannot say that I fell from the bed at night. At least if I would have fell, I would be just beside the bed. But now I was beside the door. And I when I woke up, I asked my friend, what happened at night? Who took me there? She told me, I don't know. And now I told the friend, there is, when you're pregnant, because my friend knew I'm pregnant, I told her there is that feeling you feel
Of life.
inside you. I cannot feel that life inside me again. She asked me, and are you okay? Yeah. So you don't have any pains and anything, you are feeling alright? I told her, yes, it's only that feeling, I cannot feel it. She told me, now because you're okay, let's go to job. We are on a church mate together, we are classmates. So we went to the hospital. After doing my damn dusting, I was pressed, so I went to the washroom. That's when I realized I was bleeding. So I asked her, when you're pregnant, are you supposed to bleed? She told me she doesn't know. I asked another friend of mine. She advised me it is an alert. I should not assume it. I should go and see a doctor. So I took an off and I went to see a doctor. Now the doctor suggested that I should do an ultrasound so that they may know what the problem is, what is causing the bleeding. So I went and did the ultrasound, and now the baby was real. Even if I got it through a mysterious way, the baby was so real. I saw it on the ultrasound, and they could even tell me that is your baby, the heartbeat, it's okay. Now what you will do, you are supposed to have a bed rest, so that you cannot miscarriage. So I went back to the hospital. I gave the results, the scan, and I was given a bed rest for some few days. But now during that night, the pain and the bleeding became severe, so I had to go back to the hospital. And now they told me with that bleeding, there is no way the baby can survive. So I must have an MVA. MVA is that process where you remove the remaining tissues of the pregnancy. Now, when after the doctor had finished doing the MVA, that procedure, I could feel some power coming from my ears, from my mouth. I could feel my hair. My hair was even, I could feel like it was standing. I could feel some powers, but I did not understand what it was. So I just assumed and went home. Now, from there, I started changing a lot. I was very rebellious and having weird behaviors. And I even now, I finished my attachment and I transferred from Murang'a now to Nairobi for another college. Now, when I was still there, I started suspecting myself. I could find my life very, very weird. So I asked my boyfriend one day, what's your opinion about me? Because as for me, I think it's like I was recruited to some devil worship because my life is not the way it used to be. But he told me, Faith, you are okay. You are just imagining. You are very okay. Stop imagining those things. Now, at that point, I whenever I could try to pray, I could not pray. I could yawn. Whenever I tried to pray, I could yawn continuously. So I just, the prayers I could pray is, thank you God, protect me at night. And when I could try to read the Bible, I could read one sentence for a whole maybe 5 minutes. I could not understand anything, or I could see the letters dancing. So they like doing dancing. So I could not understand anything the Bible. Now, the friend who called my mother, that Monica, was in a certain group, which used to, it was a prayer group that used to meet every Friday. So she welcomed me in that group. Even though I was rebellious and doing so that bad things, I still loved God. I still loved
Because
God.
of the seed,
Yeah.
the word that had been
Sown in
sown
your
in
heart.
her.
Yeah. So I didn't refuse to join the group. I could go on Fridays with them, but I could not pray. I could just sleep. Sometimes they could pray too much. I could faint. So they started suspecting that Faith is not okay. But at that point, I had not realized that I was recruited. I was also 50-50. I was just hanging. Now, they planned to go for a mission in Isiolo. And the friend called my mother and told my mother to please allow me to go with them. And then my mother asked her, you people are going to preach and pray for people. What is Faith going to do? You know her now. She'll be just a spectator or a headache to you. But my friend told her, you never know what God can do. Let's just go. Now, we went to Isiolo. We arrived there at night. We are on that night, the service at night. There was this pastor who was preaching during the night service. Me, I was seated at the back. Now the pastor had a revelation about, okay, I was concentrating on the phone, so I wasn't even listening to what he was saying. But he said there is a certain girl who has stomach problems. For sure, I was always on medication because of stomach problems. Now she described me, but I was not hearing. So it's the people who are around me told me, Faith, the description fits you, so just go. So me, I just stood and started going in front to go to the pastor.
Did you reach?
I didn't reach. I saw fire. I saw pastor surrounded with fire. Now the rest is history. I was being given stories. Faith, you are roaring like a snake, and you have really beaten us. You have lifted 5 men like this. Yeah. So they prayed for me, and that's when now he had a revelation of how I was recruited. He's the one even who told me, you remember the girls you used to pray to in high school? They are the one who recruited you. Now, after he prayed for me, that is now when those people now started appearing to me and telling me, Faith, you are going nowhere. You must fulfill your mission. And now they started threatening me. They could even make me faint in front of a car when it is moving so fast. It's only God who saved me. When I was,
What would you be feeling before you faint? Would you see anything or something, before you faint?
I could just see something red then I fainted. Yeah, it's only that. I could just see red and feel weak and faint. But God was faithful. I was not knocked by those vehicles because it recurred for some time. Even in church, when after he prayed for me, because we stayed there for like a whole week, I could even faint in the middle of services. At least when I was with them, I was okay because they could pray for me. Now the problem was when we left the mission, and then I went back home. Now they are home. I don't have anyone to stay with me, to pray for me. Now those demons were really harassing me. And now because I was about to do my examination, they were even telling me, you will not even pass your examination. They even started making me get sick. I could not even go to school. My leg would just become sick from nowhere. So I could stay at home. And there is one day even I went to school and I did a big drama. It was a big drama that it cost even a life of someone, but in school. But I will not talk about it. Now, when those people harassed me, I became disappointed, and I started asking God, you can see me, God. I don't want to serve the devil. I'm very willing to get out of this thing, but I'm being harassed. And when they pray for me, the moment they pray for me, I'll be beaten so much at that time. I had done everything that I was being advised to do to get delivered. Especially there is this one day I was told, Faith, to be delivered you have to fast for 3 days. And now my friends told me that I should follow them to a prayer center, and me, I just followed them. Now when we arrived in that prayer center, I could feel the presence of God from the gate, and it was really affecting me. So we went in there. We arrived there at night. So we went to the service, and people were praying. Now me, Faith, I was feeling like dying. I was feeling like beating everybody there and turning the chairs because it was very uncomfortable for me. I tried to tell them, please pray for me so that I may fit in this service. I cannot fit here at all. The presence of God here, it's too much. So there was nobody to pray for me at that time. So this is what I did. As much as I didn't go there to do any missions or to cause any trouble to anyone. I wanted to get help. I had to defend myself to fit in that service. So this is what I did. I created a web in the service. Okay, someone may ask how I created it. I created it through my concentration. There are some things I don't know how you can explain them, but I created a web in the church, in the roof, to prevent the glory of God from coming down, and also to prevent the prayers from going up. Now the service became
disorganized.
Yeah. And now people started sleeping. The praise and worship started becoming boring. And now I felt very comfortable in that place. I even slept without being disturbed. Now after the service, I really wanted to be delivered. After the service, I went and found the head of the prayer center, and I told him who I was. I told him, I was recruited in the worship, and I have come here to be delivered. Please help me. Please, even if you cannot pray for me, find some pastor. There must be someone here who can pray for me. But now he told me to be delivered, I have to go to lessons, deliverance lessons for 6 months. And I got frustrated and I said, now 6 months without these demons are tormenting me. Okay, the 3 days ended. So those people we went with, at least they prayed for me. At least demons left me, so at least I could fit. Although I was not fully delivered, I could fit there. After now the 3 days were over, I went back home. Hey, now those people became more violent. They would come, they could rape me, they could beat me, they could, in fact, they were used to they could come and hold my nose and my mouth until I became unconscious. I even thought I was dead, I was to die. But by God's grace, God's grace, I didn't die. Now, because because the tortures were too much, I became mad at God. I told God, now I have done everything that I can do to be delivered, but you are not delivering me, so I will now serve the devil knowingly. As much as I don't want to, I will now serve him knowingly. One day when God, but I'm not doing it because I want it, it's because you are not delivering me. So one day I hope that you will deliver me. Now I started fulfilling the missions that they had given me. The first mission was to destroy men. I could destroy men by this way. When I could sleep with a man, that man would become financially unstable.
Which means she would switch the man's destiny.
Take his star.
Are you that kind of man who sleeps with any woman you come across? Watch out.
Just why men have to be so careful, men and women really, because during the act of sex, it's a covenant. It is a lifetime, eternal contract. The two become one. Whatever belongs to her belongs to you. Whatever belongs to you belongs to her, whether it's a one-night stand or not. In the realm of the spirit, the laws of the spirit dominate, and they don't care if you thought it was a one-night stand. They don't care if you were just having some fun. They don't. The law of the spirit, doesn't care about whatever you think is a one-night stand. So as soon as that happens, while you are doing it, there are spirits in there with you, because that is an act of worship. And if it takes place outside of the institution of marriage, then it is an act of worship, not to the God of heaven, but to the God of fornication and immorality and defilement. So those are spirits. Those are various different spirits. That is Baal. That is Beelzebub. That is Satan. So during the act of fornication, you are actually worshiping Satan. That's why in satanic churches, they have orgies and they have fornication, and they right there on the altar. Why? Because that's how you worship Satan. You have fornication, you have adultery. That is the act of worshiping. So while you're doing it, there are spirits there in the room with you, drawing on the energy that you are providing while you are doing this act. So they're drawing on your energy, they're taking your star, and with the star they take your destiny, they take your future. And that's why, everywhere on the mainstream media, you'll see that Satan really promotes immorality. Netflix, whether it's a lot of these mainstream TV channels or online TV movie portals and series, These guys are promoting sex big time to make you believe that this is normal, this is something that happens all the time. But as soon as you start doing it, it's like your luck runs out. It's like a dark cloud starts following you everywhere you go. Rejection sets in. There's the possibility for transfer of diseases, but even that physical possibility is just there because of the spiritual possibility that's there.
Yeah, and another example of a young man whose destiny was being fought in the Bible is Joseph. Joseph dreamt when all the stars in the family were bowing before his star, including the sun and the moon, which meant that he had a bright future. He was destined to lead the brothers. He was destined to be a leader. And when the brothers heard about what God had revealed to Joseph concerning his destiny, they sold him into slavery. And while he was there was Potiphar's wife, who saw the destiny on Joseph. They are able to see the star on someone. They are able to read and know that this person is destined for greatness. So this woman was not only lusting for Joseph, but she was greedy. She wanted to steal Joseph's star. If Joseph had agreed to sleep with this woman, Joseph would not have become a prime minister. He would have died before accomplishing what God had created him to be, because eventually Potiphar would have found out, and because he was legally because Potiphar would be legally right, he would have had access to Joseph's life. So because Joseph said no to Potiphar's wife, even when Potiphar threw him to prison, he could not kill Joseph because the hand of God was upon him. So when you open up your life to someone who is not your wife or not your husband, then you're opening up your life to attacks. And the enemy's mission is simple. He came to steal, kill, and to destroy. Period. Nothing much, nothing less. He just came to do that. So I hope you're learning something from this.
Yeah, so you can see it was the strategy of the devil to jump. It was a strategy of the spirit of fornication to jump into Potiphar's wife and then cause her to lust after Joseph. And had Joseph fallen for it, he would have lost his star. He never would have become the prime minister of Egypt. So just imagine what you lose when you fornicate. And you know, coming from a hip-hop background and entertainment scene, man, that's all guys used to do. Hollywood is everybody sleeping with everybody. And so we can see how stars are stolen, you see. And then when the enemy steals your star, he will give it to somebody who will come to him and sell their soul to him. So you'll find somebody who's not even talented, somebody who doesn't even have the same future as you, shining with the future that you were supposed to have. And that is what is going on in Hollywood in a very large scale. People with other people's stars of Christians who are supposed to be shining, but because they play around with immorality, they lose their stars, and their stars are transferred to people who have no business shining in the first place.
Thank you so much for allowing God to use you, expose the enemy. So I think these people need to know what would happen every time you sleep with these men, and what other mission you were doing for the enemy.
Okay. Now, there is something I forgot to say. Before now I started my mission, there is this night that they came and took, again I astral projected, and we went to India. In India, we were in a forest, and in that forest there was group sex. They were having sex with each other. Now,
orgies.
It's like we were being initiated or trained, so we were not doing those things.
So you had to watch.
Yeah, we were watching when they were doing all those things. Because I even remember I could fly all over India, and I was wondering, hey, so these people have gardens like in Kenya. So there is no much difference. Like in Kenya, they have gardens, it's like Kenya. Now, what they did to us that day, they sprayed us with a certain spray that could attract men. that could make every man that comes around you will come attracted to you and initiate that spirit of lust in them. Now from there, men started fighting for faith everywhere I went. So if I slept with a man, I could make him financially unstable. If he was rich, he start retrogressing or stagnate at the same place. The next thing is a relationship. He will never be in a stable relationship. And if he succeeds and gets married, in future they will divorce.
Because of the spell you put on their lives.
Yeah, they would automatically divorce. So it's financial, causing financial problems and relationship problems. Another thing was, now I was not sleeping with these men to be sexually satisfied, because I was sleeping with demons. And now, okay, somebody may ask how.
They are spiritual marriages,
spiritual husbands. And me, I could see them. They act like normal human beings, but according to me, their sex was more sweeter than the physical men. So me, I was sleeping with these men for satisfaction. It was for distraction and also to gain more power. If I slept with you, I would become
more powerful because of fulfilling a mission in the kingdom of darkness.
I would become more powerful. So another thing was now to spread lesbianism. When I could look at a girl, a lady, let's call them ladies. When I could look at a lady, I would tell this lady, if I initiate that lesbianism thing, she will cooperate. And I could tell if she has done it before or
she has not done it before.
So I wanted those that have never done it.
Those whose stars are shining, those who are innocent.
To recruit to gain new territory.
So I could show them how to do it, and I never did it twice. It was once, and then I would advise you. This is what I could tell them, and the funny thing, they never resisted me. And I could tell them, men are bad. You should not be faithful to any man. Be a player. Never be faithful to any man. And also, you can be sleeping with women. So I was telling them to be bisexuals. The other thing was, I was sent to clubs. When I could go to clubs, many people go to clubs to have fun. You are stressed at home.
By the way, we have a video of when she was in one club, and we'll be showing you the video after she narrates her experience, just to prove to you that we don't just come to give you stories, but we come to share experiences that can help expose the kingdom of darkness and make you understand that life is spiritual. So you can continue.
So as I was saying, so many people, when they are stressed up, they think some think the only way they can relieve their stress is by going to clubs. But as you are going to clubs, there are some people who are sent there to fulfill their missions, as I was doing. Me, I would go get drunk, and as long as I'm in that club and I start dancing, there are sometimes I could dance normal dance, but there is the time that some powers could take control of me. And when I'm dancing, I was releasing some spirits to people, like especially for sexual perversion. you will find that club people are starting having sex. Other come there desiring to have sex. Men wanting to have sex with men and men, women, and it was spreading lesbianism, gayism, and spreading unfaithfulness, divorces.
A club is an altar, just like a church is an altar. But the church is representing the kingdom of God, and the club is representing the kingdom of darkness. Both altars have power to pull in crowds, but the way to hell is wide, while the way to heaven is narrow. So you find a few people picking interest in godly things, reading the Bible, listening to messages from that are inspired by the Holy Spirit, and you find crowds, thousands and thousands of people entering these clubs every night. They are so dedicated. There are some people who club from Monday to Monday. They are so dedicated to that altar, not knowing that that is a satanic altar, and it pulls in majority. In Uganda, I'll be coming back to faith. In Uganda, I was working for many altars, and one of the altars was called Angenois. Angenois meaning dark angels. Now, if you're going to such a place, you don't expect the angels of God to minister to you, because angels are ministering spirits. Now, in clubs, you're going to expect to find all kinds of people, maginis. You're going to find people who are possessed. You're going to find thieves. That's why people go and they only come back in socks without shoes. You're going to find murderers in that club, and the songs that they are singing in that kind of atmosphere are summoning. They are transporting evil spirits into this dimension. They are trying to program your life for failure. And the songs that you listen to are songs like "Commit a Crime and I'll Be Your Defender." Songs like that. It's the songs about death. You give me heart attack. You turn me upside down. You only listen to songs where they are abusing you in club, and you will be rejoicing. It's something that people are under a spell, and they don't understand. They don't realize someone can go to a club, and in one night this person is spending 3 million, just in one night, Kenya shillings. A person is, and the children are suffering. They cannot go to school. This person is spending money on a prostitute. He cannot even afford to pay rent for his family, but because he's bound to that altar, there's nothing he can do to free himself. But thank God for the blood of Jesus. My sister here is free to tell you what is happening in those clubs. Yeah. So you would be dancing.
I would be dancing. Even there sometimes, okay, I don't have those videos. I don't have all of them. There sometimes I would even dance on top of the table and there. And now I would steal the show of the club, and now everybody would be watching at me, cheering, and when they are watching at me, I would be releasing those spirits to them. Another thing that I used to do is encourage people to masturbate,
because it's spiritual.
The more you masturbate, you also make the spiritual husbands and wives to be coming to sleep with you. The other thing I used to do is going to church. Now my main target was on youths. So, when I was in church, remember I was born again. I used my foundation. So I used to know the word of God and
how to behave like the Christians, how to say praise God.
How to speak the lingo.
So when you would meet me, you would think I'm very spiritual. In fact, there are some pastors who would even propose to me. They used to propose to me, and now that was really making me ask myself many questions. I would ask, if this God is powerful, why isn't he revealing to them who I am?
It's because they are in the flesh. And God does not force himself on people. He gives you a chance to choose whether you're serving him or whether you're not serving him. And he will not force himself on you. And when you're living in sin, then he will distance himself from you, because God is holy and he cannot work with sin. So many times, because of sin, people's ears are shut and they cannot hear from God. Their eyes are blind and they cannot see anymore. They are spiritually blind. They cannot understand, spiritual things. They cannot be able to discern, because they have yielded more to the flesh than to the spirit. So the pastors,
they would propose to me, and now I never loved them because they were too spiritual, and I knew if I get married to them, okay, there's no way we can be compatible. So,
darkness and light.
Yeah.
But were they shady pastors or they were real pastors?
They were real.
They could
It's not-
preach.
It's not like they were living in sin.
No. Now, when I could tell somebody who is really born again by just looking. When I could enter the church, this is what I used to do. When I could enter the church, I could tell the church that has God's presence. When there is the presence of God, I could tell how strong that church is. And I could even tell who is born again and who is not. Especially even the praise and worshipers. When I could tell this one is in the altar, and she has slept with so many people, maybe last Saturday going to church. So I could tell these people were real men of God. The only thing they never had is maybe discernment.
They didn't have discernment.
Yeah,
But they were real, and it's not like they were living in sin.
No.
But then
They would come and propose.
then they would come and propose, not knowing who they're proposing to. And you can imagine if that's a pastor who is, at least he's not living in sin, but he lacks discernment to the extent that he's about to marry an agent of the devil and has no idea. And so, that's
See how
dangerous.
ministries collapse? Because
That's how ministries collapse. That's how it happens.
They looked at the outside appearance. And you remember those people had given me extra beauty. In the morning I would be very beautiful. The beauty would vary.
I have some of her photos while she was in the kingdom of darkness. Man, she was so beautiful. And she's still beautiful, but now covered with the glory of God. Yeah,
the beauty would vary. So they just look at their outside appearance and they say, I have seen a good wife. Okay, now the other thing is still in church. What I could do is when there are times when the presence of God flows in church too much. And I was still going to church because yes, I was in a mission, but still my parents will not allow anybody to stay in their home and they are not going to church. So I was also going to please them. I was going to church also to please them, so that because I never wanted to be scolded. So sometimes the presence of God could fall in church, and I could feel like I would become exposed. So what I used to do is I would leave my body, go outside until the presence has gone down, and then I would come back to my
so what they would be having in church is the body.
Yeah, in the body, but
The
the
real
real faith has gone.
Life is spiritual.
He's just there.
Nobody's home. Oh my goodness. Look, I want to share a scripture with you very quickly. It's Proverbs chapter 5. Proverbs chapter 5 is such a powerful chapter. From verse 1. And this is just God trying to give his children godly advice. This advice is deep. This advice is very far reaching. But because it's in old school English or King James Version English, people, either they don't read it, they don't understand it, they don't want anything to do with it, and yet this information is what can make you or break you. From verse 1, my son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow your ear to my understanding, that you may regard discretion, and that your lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Lest you should ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, you cannot know them. By the time, if you would have run into her in the club, and you were dancing and she's dancing and you guys are getting high, you never would have known her ways. You never would have known the lengths, the depths that she goes to, into the marine kingdom, into India, flying around and coming back. You never would have known the covenants, eating human flesh, drinking human blood, in orgies, in covenants, in contracts. Verse 7, hear me now, therefore, all you children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her, and come not near the door of her house. Look at this. Lest you give your honor unto others, and your years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with your wealth, and your labors be in the house of a stranger. And you mourn at the last, when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. He's telling you that your honor left when you slept with that woman, when you slept with that dude, whatever happened, when the woman and the woman slept with, whatever the case may be, your honor left. And when it left, your star, your destiny, your purpose is stolen. And this is how many people, this is how so many are in poverty. They have no idea what happened. Lost your star a long time ago, messing around with fornication and adultery. Verse 14, I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. He's telling you that though you think your life is private, but at the end of the day, life is spiritual. And there is a spiritual congregation and assembly all around us, watching us all the time. There is no such thing as privacy in the realm of the spirit. We can see you. They can see you. They can see what you are doing. So people might not know, but spirits can see you. Whatever you're doing is open and exposed, and you lose your star, you lose your destiny. Life becomes difficult. You think you have bad luck, or you think somebody put a curse on you. No, boss. You open the door. In all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Then here's the advice he gives you. Verse 15. Drink waters out of your own cistern, and running waters out of your own well. Let your fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only your own, and not strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy you at all times, and be ravished always with her love. And why will you, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his goings. His own iniquities will take the wicked himself, and he'll be holden with the cords of his sins. He'll die without instruction, and in the greatness of his foolishness he goes astray. So you see the strategy of the devil to send you some fine looking chick. You see, like like in Atlanta, there's strip clubs all over the place. Well, I mean, in America, they're all over, but Atlanta, they are well known. Women dancing naked on poles, going upside down, flipping over, doing all this crazy stuff. And while they're dancing, before they would get up there, they'd be high, distributing demon spirits of lust, spirits of immorality, spirits of wastefulness, because they're throwing money while they're dancing up and down on these poles.
And the
This is
secular
an altar.
artists, and the secular artists that perform in these clubs and in these concerts are performing satanic rituals. They are not actually entertaining you. They are using entertainment to fool you, but the actual sense is these people perform rituals on those platforms, on their altars. Those stages are their altars, and they perform rituals because they are satanic priests. And you find a musician like Beyonce telling you that every time she gets on stage, a demon called Sasha Fierce takes over, and she's now able to do things that she cannot do on her own. Personally, as Beyonce, she's a shy woman, she's calm, she cannot do the things that she does on stage. But because of that help of that evil spirit called Sasha Fierce, Nicki Minaj talks about a demon called Roman, a demon that takes over every time she goes to perform. So you're being entertained by demons and you don't even know, you have no idea. And many people worship the devil without knowledge. That is what they call devil worship. When someone is praising a fallen angel, a person is talking about a beautiful liar. When they're talking about mommy water, when they are worshiping those gods, Doro Gucci, Doro Strong, Doro Power, Doro Famous. They are worshiping the devil. They have sold their souls to the devil. And one musician came out clearly and he said in a song that I gave my soul and conquered. I make my enemies to scatter. And he mentions the songs he released ever since he sold his soul to the devil. And because of that, they don't even live long. If you observe these people who rise up from the kingdom of darkness, their life is shortened by the enemy because he came to steal, kill, and to destroy. Someone becomes a superstar for a short time, and within a few months, the person is dead. That person is no more because their cup of iniquity is full to the brim. Don't be deceived with the golden chains that you see them putting on, and the silver and the golden rings. All those things are vanity, and they are puppets. They are speaking on behalf of their bosses, the bosses you will never see. They are the so-called Jews. They are their bosses. And these things that we are telling you, the enemy does not want you to know. But their bosses will never come on camera. So whatever they want to promote, these musicians are puppets that promote a certain trend or lifestyle. If they want to promote homosexuality, they will make them act. And in every movie, they'll put a scene of homosexuality. If they want them to promote drugs, they'll make the hip hop artists rap and talk about drugs and make it look cool. Just imagine, drugs are illegal for the citizens, but the celebrities show drugs on TV, and that's okay. The police doesn't investigate. So who are the people behind these so-called celebrities? Those people that are behind them are powerful. They build them and break them. They are the ones that finance their activities. Everything that they do is just staged. They are living a life that is on a script. The moment they enter the brotherhood, they are no longer part of their family. That's why you find that the celebrities are balling in the city. They are driving all expensive vehicles. And when you check to see their families, their parents are wallowing in poverty. Their relatives are dying because they cannot afford to go to hospital and pay for a medical bill, But on the publicly, the TV stations are showing you something that is different from reality. So don't be deceived by what you see on TV. That life that you see where they put those disco lights, everything is shining. No, people are shining to hell, man. People are dying, and they will not show you that. They will not tell you that, when you listen to this song over and over, you're meditating. When you speak after these artists, when you respond to whatever they are saying, if a song is about death, you're inviting a spirit of death in your house. If it is about immorality, you're inviting immorality in your house. If it is about divorce, still it is going to be that, the cheater's prayer. How can that be a very good song? The woman is also listening to the cheater's prayer, and she's also singing, and the man is also saying the same. Why wouldn't they cheat on themselves? Because they are inviting that atmosphere. Life is spiritual, and we are sharing this to expose the kingdom of darkness. Faith has decided to come out to expose so that someone out there is helped. I hope you're watching with your family. Feel free to share these messages, because we know people need to know what is happening.
During this movie, of this actor that just recently died, Chadwick Boseman, watched Black Panther, I remember, and during the movie, there's a part where he's being initiated as king, and they literally bury him, and he comes out of his body, goes into the world of the dead to meet his ancestors. All right, this is exactly what happened to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really show what happens, because life is spiritual. There are people who have the ability to, we are spiritual beings living in a physical body. So there are people who have the abilities to leave their bodies and travel in the spiritual realm and meet with the demons or ancestral spirits, and then get instructions and come back. And there is a very prominent artist who died. People used to call him the king of pop. And this artist, before he would release an album, he would travel for 3 days. He would astral project, travel for 3 days, get these songs, and then go. After 3 days, he had a room. He would go into that room 3 days. No one is supposed to enter. No one is supposed to go there. He locks himself there because that was his altar. And then he would travel, and then he comes back with songs, because he had entered into a covenant with the angel of death. And all his songs were promoting the kingdom of darkness. If you look at his videos, the guy would show where he would be in places like graveyards,
like the Thriller video.
And he's dancing. He's telling people that this spirit has entered me and it causes me to dance like this. And the guy break dances in a way that a normal person cannot dance the way, even if you do practice. People have tried to do what that guy was doing, but no one has gotten to his level, because his was beyond the physical. It was a spiritual kind of move that moved into his generation and even beyond. So you find that before they die, they have to raise up another generation, and there is another generation that he raised. It was a generation of immorality, and there is a man who he introduced into the industry, and this man was also
an R&B singer.
Yes, and every time he would sing, girls would go so crazy. He would sing songs that are, so seductive. And if it's not seductive, it is a song of heartbreak. And, and every time he would be singing, girls would go so crazy, and they don't understand why they are so crazy over this man. But there are some forces of darkness. There are forces of darkness. When that man would be performing the King of Pop, people would die. During the shows, the performances, people would die and they would be praising death. They are talking about man in a mirror. They are talking about witchcraft. They are talking about magic. And people just look at these things and they think it is entertainment. No, it is not entertainment. This is witchcraft, and those people are altars. They are priests in the kingdom of darkness. A worshipper is a priest. I'll give an example of a worshipper in the Bible. David. He was a psalmist. He used to play his harp. And every time he would play his harp, he would enter into dimensions to an extent that the demons that were tormenting the king would be able to identify that this boy is not just any ordinary, is not just any normal boy, he's extraordinary. And his music, every time he would play the harp, the strings, it was not just there are some beats you can listen to. Those beats take you to a dimension, and they just by listening to those beats, the atmosphere in the place begins to change and things begin to happen. David was the kind of person who would enter into spiritual dimensions just by playing his harp, by singing songs to the Lord, by worshiping his God. The atmosphere would change. The demons would sense that this is not our environment, and they would flee. So they are just like David was anointed to bring the presence of God. They are artists who are anointed to bring the presence of the devil in your homes while you watch them on TV. They are anointed to bring the presence of the devil in your life, in your car. Yes.
So it's funny because that King of Pop did a song about the man in the mirror, and witchcraft. A lot of witchcraft is done in front of the mirror. right in front of the mirror, they look at the mirror and begin to recite incantation. And it is in that place that they can call for your star, they can call your name, they can call you and cause you to appear in that mirror. I mean, there's all kinds of wickedness that goes on in the realm of the spirit that people need to know about. It's just that the Bible doesn't really go into details to tell you about these things. So the only way that God has provided for us to know about it is through the testimonies of people. And that's why Revelation says we overcame him, one, by the blood of the Lamb, and two, by the word of our testimonies, and we love not our lives unto the death. When Proverbs chapter 5 is talking about drinking waters out of your own cisterns, let them be your own only, and not strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth, is because, especially as a man, your sexual energy should go between you and your wife gives it back to you, so that the wealth stays in the home, so that the inheritance stays in the bloodline. But when you go and you distribute it elsewhere, then your honor is transferred, your star is transferred, your wealth is transferred, your chances and your opportunities and your good fortune is transferred to somebody else. And when they take it, you begin to suffer in life. So life is about choices. So be wise now that you know what's going on. Now that you know what time it is, be smart.
Erica served Satan for 18 years. After her deliverance through the Lord Jesus Christ, she traveled throughout Uganda ministering and testifying of her experiences in churches, schools, and at any gathering of people where she could speak. One day, after ministering in a Ugandan village called Midiana, they had an accident while riding on a small motorbike after a crusade. Erica's wounds were so deep that she died. Erica explains what she saw after she passed. She describes heaven, some of the different levels, and how she entered into that glorious place. She describes the angel of death, his operations, and the inner workings of the kingdom of darkness. Download this book and bring fires of revival back into your life. From lifeisspiritualministries.org. God bless you.
Well, have you been blessed with this testimony? Do you feel you need help? Are you in Kenya? Feel free to come and fellowship with us at Father's House Family Church. We are located in Ruiru Town, opposite the Sub-County Hospital, every Sunday. Just feel free. We are pastored by Pastor Victor and Eunice Mwangi. Will warmly receive you, and we shall pray with you. You will overcome. As long as you're in Kenya, even if you're overseas, even if you're not in the country, anytime you come to Kenya, just feel free to come and fellowship with us at Father's House Family Church. We love you.
And have all I've been in